I don't even see it. Okay.
Hello there, folks.
Hi there.
So this is another episode of Würfel Cast. It's episode 55. I think it's going to be the last episode of this year, but not the last episode ever. So because
Okay.
I think we do have our own things to do and families and etc. Kyle will be away. I think next
Oh yeah, that's right.
week. And the week after that,
That's
it's
true.
Christmas. We'll all be away in a fairyland of Christmas, and then it's New Year already, and then we'll be away again. And
Okay. Well.
and then
All right. Fine.
Yeah, we'll start somewhere in January again. I think with some maybe new ideas, new topics. We'll see. It will give us a little bit of time to think about maybe reformatting, or maybe just starting the year with some new segments or other segments or etc. There's so many possibilities we can do, but
we'll see. I think we're gonna surprise.
Yeah, well, at least I think we're gonna still continue to use StreamYard, as it's been the most reliable so far.
Okay.
And at least you can do some live stuff here.
That's true.
But without further ado, let's just jump into our episode with some recent plays first.
Hooray!
And I'll tell you right away. So I've been very silent on that front. So I'll give you, Kyle, the first the first pick on that.
All right. So
and
the recent
I'll skip it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So the recent play that I have is one that I kind of, it sort of showed up, and it was one I was excited for when we talked about games we were thinking were coming out at Essen. And so I was excited when it showed up, and of course I got it right to the table. And I've only played it solo, but this is the kind of game that kind of really works very well solo. So the game is Welcome to the Moon. And this is the follow-up of the two other Welcome to games. So you had Welcome to Your Dream Neighborhood or whatever, and then there was Welcome to New Las Vegas, and then now is Welcome to the Moon. So I loved the original Welcome to, right? That was a fantastic, flip the cards, right in, fill in the numbers. You were making, you've got 3 streets, and you were trying to set the numbers in order. From lowest to highest, the cards went from 1 to 15 and kind of converged around the middle. And you could split it up in different ways using special abilities to sort of create scoring zones. Welcome to New Vegas took all of that and added some confusion. I enjoyed it, but it was not as good as the original. Welcome to the Moon sort of takes those same ideas and makes them into a campaign. And so really what you have is 8 sort of small flip and write type games. There's 4 sheets. They're double-sided. And you're going to play through the campaign. It'll, say, okay, decide what you want here, and that'll sort of determine your objectives for the round. The campaign is okay, right? It's mediocre writing. The story's not all that exciting. But really what it does is it sort of sets up some small changes for the next round. And what this does, though, is it's really, if you sort of strip the campaign away, it's 8 more versions of Welcome to. And they all work very differently. There's that first one you just saw with the rocket, where you're not using the special ability cards at all. You're just using so each card is double-sided, it has a number on one side and a symbol on the other. And you're sort of filling up the rocket using the symbols that instead of the special abilities. In the second one, you're moving along this track, and you can subdivide the track, and you can restart your numbering every time you divide the track. And so you're trying to sort of time that. But if you cut it into too many segments, then you'll be less efficient with doing other things. There's a third one, which is sort of setting up a colony on the moon. And instead of just having to worry about higher to lower from left to right, you have to worry about higher and lower from bottom to top as well. And it gets really sort of brain melty as you're trying to figure out where you can put these things and realize, oh no, I really couldn't do that. I better go back and change it. And so really it's very interesting, right? I mean, it's lots of different takes on the same formula. The basic rules are pretty much the same, but each of the 8 different boards has some significant but small rules changes that really switch up the puzzle and make it very interesting. I have played through the full campaign once, and then I'm sort of on the second run through, about halfway through it, because there's a second campaign in the book, and I figured why not? Even if the writing isn't great, it's kind of interesting to see how things are changed. And then this one does it a little bit differently, right? I mean, it has secret cards that you'll open at different times and play with, and it has other ways to change the puzzle. Nothing super surprising, but nice variations. And I think once it's all done, it'll be nice to have all those options that I could take and play with, by myself or with someone else. This game can technically be played with any number of players, although you only really have the components for, I think, 4. But it's the type of game that the player count doesn't really matter. I really have enjoyed Welcome to the Moon. I think once it's done, it'll be nice just to have 8 different variations that I can play, sort of, say, look, we're not going to read the hokey story. We're just going to play the game. And I think that'll be fun too. So I've really enjoyed it. I think it's probably the best of the series, this Welcome to series. It's not quite as easy to open up and play as basic Welcome to, but I like the variation. I'm really enjoying it.
All right. I've never played Welcome to any of those, especially Welcome to the Moon. I think it just came out. So it looks cool. It looks nice. It's something that I might play when I go to some kind of a board game camp or a convention or anything like that. That's something I might play. Not something I will buy. I got tired of various like those Welcome to. They came after that. The one after the time where I got really tired of roll and write games and flip and write, whatever, something and write games, and there were just too many, and I felt like, oh, what?
There were too many?
There are too many, but I'm not even like right now. I just don't even know what happens there. I know some of the games that came out, but it's not something I particularly have looked into. So yeah, but this one just looks nice, looks different.
Yeah, someday I'll have to do, or with you or by myself, a ranked list of my best of the best sort of flip or roll and write games. And this is definitely, the whole Welcome to series is definitely going to be near the top, though, because they're all very good. I said New Vegas is a little bit weaker than the other 2, and that's just because it's more complicated. But I don't know. I like the whole series, and I really like this one.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, I will skip mine because I haven't been playing anything in a few weeks.
Then there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to we'll get back to playing soon. Anyway, so let's get to the next topic, which is Cult of the Old. We'll talk about the games that are at least 5 years old, and we think you should try.
Okay.
So let me start then. So
you can start.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, my pick for today for the Cult of the Old is a game that introduced a variable deck building, which is not just deck building, but something else as well. In this one, it's role selection, so eminent domain. And while I thought about the game, I thought about getting this one back, and especially when Team G decided to close and like go bankrupt. Right now, it's hard to get.
Well, they decided to do that.
I mean, like, yeah. But the thing is, it's a hard game to get, and especially if you want to get the expansions, and you want to get the expansions, because the base game is fine. It's okay, but right now there are so many other deck builders that do something extra that you need to get the expansions in order to, there are those ships, but they do nothing. You need the expansion for that. There are those resources, but they are whatever until you get the expansion. So basically, the expansions add the meaning to the base components, and you can see this the cute picture of somebody playing. Anyway, this game is a deck building game where you build those different. You select those cards, and this game also has this role selection, because those cards, they are different roles. They do different actions, and you can boost those actions by playing more of the same card. And other players can follow your action by playing a kind of a limited variant of that action. As I don't remember the whole game that well. Exactly, I haven't played it in a while. It's something I kind of regret getting rid of, because like I had some different tastes. I was like, okay, I don't think Eminent Domain is for me anymore. But now I've like, oh my god, I should have kept that game, because especially I should have gotten the expansions on time. Right now, it's very hard to get. But I really like this role selection. It's simple as well. You can do the action, and you as a leader can do some extra stuff. And all of these different roles are very different. You can either survey, find new planets, or you can go with warfare or colonize, or you can get the resources going. It's a really cool engine building that I think everybody should try at least once and see if they like that, and then go with the expansions, of course. So that's my pick for today's Cult of the Old.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this game. First of all, the title bothers me, especially because of what that term actually means. Secondly, I don't know. It's a deck building game where all of the cards are kind of the same, right? You're buying all those. I think there's 5 card types, but it's not like they're ever doing any. It's always the same 5, but it makes it a little bit simpler to learn. And I don't know. I'll have to try it again. It's been a long time. I do have the expansions, but I just always found this one underwhelming. So
yeah, the thing is that you can also buy those special cards, and they are points. I think they have some actions. I think the further expansions boost on that idea. So it's not always those 5 cards, but yeah, it's more of it's an engine building role selection game with that element of deck building. But the deck building is all about you going the warfare way, or you're going the colonies way. So you strategize the way you want to be stronger at your initial setup. So it's not like a deck building game, So
okay,
yeah.
Very well.
Let's get your pick.
So for mine, I again, looking at sort of the topic today, this was an older game that really quite surprised me. It didn't sound very interesting, didn't look very interesting, but I remember when I discovered it, I was quite enamored with it. The game is called Dead Man's Draw. And it, I think, fits in it's 2015. That's about right. So it's sort of a push your luck game, which is not my favorite. But this one's really interesting. I think there's like 8 or 10 different suits of cards. And essentially what you're going to do is each turn you'll flip over the top. Well, when it's your turn, you'll flip over a card and decide if you want to stop. This is a new version, it looks like.
Yeah.
That's not the version I had. It's better artwork than the version I had.
Yeah.
But so that's the version I had. So you're flipping over a card, and you can keep going. So you'll flip over a card and decide to stop or keep going. And you can keep going until you get a duplicate suit. So, you can go all the way through all the suits, or you can stop early and bank some cards. And it's really sort of about doing that. And then each time you flip a card, you'll do whatever special ability it gives you. Some of them help you bank cards. Some things work well together. Some things are bad. Some that you steal from other people. It's just a really interesting, very rules light, very fast, but kind of one of those, oh, let's play it one more time type of games. It didn't look like anything. But it really was. It's one of my favorite sort of push your luck style games, just because that's really all you're doing, and then the interplay of the different abilities is quite fun. And I don't know, it's not the best game ever, but it was a pleasant surprise, and it's one that's older and kind of has fallen out of favor, but is probably worth checking out if you have a chance.
Yeah. Okay, so it's weird. So yeah,
There's lots of new versions. It looks like.
I think that was just some Photoshop doing the abilities, but I have this version here.
Oh,
this artwork version.
Yeah, that's the version that I think that
I
knew existed.
This is print and play build here, because you can see it's not rounded cards, but it's the same art. And yeah, this is the okay. So yeah, as you said,
right.
it's something. So I bought this game because it was like, okay, so I'm gonna. Oops, it doesn't want to load. The image is fine. Anyway, I bought this game. Think about, okay, so I need a push-your-luck game in my collection. I need something very simple, because it was like, I'm going to meet one of my friends who is not a gamer, and he likes, so his favorite game is Red 7 that I play with him, and he only wants to play that. He's not into games, but we both love Red 7, which is nice, but it's not something I want to play forever. And I needed to bring in some other games which were as simple and small, but still very, very cool. And I was like, okay, maybe a push-a-luck game will be fine, because we tried the Port Royal, and he liked that very much. But Port Royal wasn't that great for me. And so yeah, I played it. So it's a theme of our today's list. I was a little bit surprised, because I skipped that game a long time ago. I was in a time where Mayday Games made Viceroy that I backed, and after that they kind of made this game. Viceroy, I think, was 2014 or 13. It was like a year later they got this one out. It was on the Kickstarter as well. I don't remember if this version or any other version. I don't know. I remember the version, but I saw this game. I was like, oh, it sounds like stupid and too simple. Like, okay, you flip the card and like that's it. Where's the game? And there is a game. I was kind of surprised. It's not on my surprise list. It was not that kind of.
It's not on mine either, but
yeah,
I figured I'd slip another one in.
Yeah, it's a take that which I don't like in this. I don't like 2 confrontational card games. Where you steal something, you steal a card from me, you destroy my card. I don't like that in games. But this one, I don't mind. I like. We played it on the terrace. We played it outside in the restaurant, and just the quick one. Collect the points, see who wins. Let's play another round, and let's try the variants. So this one has few variants of scoring. There are those like you can have abilities. By the way, there are special abilities. Some of them are broken, but just skip them. And there are those variants in scoring, like you bust if you go over 50 points, or you need to collect exactly 50, or you need to have the lowest score, or whatever. There's like you can spice up the initial game, by having those alternative scoring conditions. It was fun. Yeah, that's what you said. I'm like it's 6.5 for me. It's not something amazing, but something that I think
it's not, but it's fun.
Great to. Despite it being not so huge rating, I think it's something I need in my collection.
All right.
It's very simple. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the next topic, which is funky components. And for my pick of the funky components I don't know if I talked about it before. I looked it up. I didn't talk about it before at least if I didn't forget to put it down in my list. I have this separate list where I put down every game I've talked about in the different segments, so I will not, repeat myself. It's an important thing for me, because as long as we
not a
go
bad
further,
idea.
as we go further and further, like, did I talk about that one, or did I talk about it in the list, or did I talk about it in the recent plays? And like, okay, anyway, my pick for the funky component is from Ninjato, which also has a newer version card Kodachi. Yeah, is that, and they say that the card game of this game is better because it's quicker and gives you the same vibes. I don't know about that, but I'm talking about the shuriken.
Okay.
As you can see, the shuriken, they are big. These are basically workers, or like it's a kind of like a worker placement game. And you put those shurikens out. These are your workers, and I just like them. They are chunky. They're very light in weight. It's not chunky in a weight, but they're big. Shuriken, really, thick and almost the size of the cards, as you can see. I just really like them. They bring out the theme for me. Like, I've never expected such component. Like, okay, they're cool. They're different. So, as you can see here,
Okay.
I like them very much.
Yeah, those are nice. I've not played the game, so I can't really comment on it. But
it's a really
I have the old
game.
version. At least I had it.
It is the very interesting game, the Ninjato, and I think Kodachi doesn't have them anyway, because Kodachi is a card game reimplementation of that base game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's a cool game. All right, what's your one?
Okay. So mine is a game, and it sort of was a surprise, right? That's kind of the theme. But this is a game that I had the first edition, and I hated it. But I decided to try the second edition because of its pretty funky components. And that game is the new second edition of Atlantis Rising. And so among its funky components, right, it had, nice resources. It had these little pearlescent metal pieces, and it had, just little chunks of plastic crystal, things like that. But the real interesting component is the solo boards. So when you're playing solo, you go through this deck of powers, and you've got a hologram character that's going to come out. And the way that they have the boards done for the solo characters, they're blurred.
This one?
And so, well, that's the hologram piece that's standing on something. But there's the player boards for the solo that you use in a solo player, where you're going to cycle through special abilities. And maybe you can't even find a picture of them, but it's the same picture as the character from the main player boards, except these ones are blurred out because they're a hologram. So like you see there, that mystic and the artificer or whatever, on the hologram one that you use in the solo game, it's the same picture, but then it's sort of blurred out to make it look like a hologram. I thought that was really a nice touch. And maybe, that's probably not the kind of thing somebody takes a picture of. But anyway, there's that, and then there was all the resource components, which were really very nice and really made the game a lot more fun. Some of the rules updates made it more fun too. But anyway, the whole game itself is a very interesting piece of design and has some very interesting components. And so that one is both a surprise and a funky component. The second edition of Atlantis Rising. Yeah, you probably won't be able to find them.
Yeah, I don't think.
Buy a copy, and you can try.
Everybody has this usual. Yeah, there's no picture of that. Anyway.
Oh well.
At least I
promise it's there.
Okay. All right. So this is the component you don't see, but you can feel like it's out there. Anyway,
because it's a hologram.
It's a hologram. Yeah. It's a real hologram. You say that you turn it over and it just projects the whole hologram type thing.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens. It was a very funky component.
How much does the game cost? 2,000? Something like that. Okay, so here we are. We are done with our usual topics, and then we go to the topic of the day, which is top 10 surprises. And of course, it's not top 10 surprises that it's not about like I got a sweater on Christmas. What a surprise. No, it's it's about games, of course.
Geez, live large there.
Okay, live stronger.
Okay.
So for my lists, I want to explain a little bit. So as I said in the previous episode, also I think I mentioned that maybe outside our live recording, but I didn't look into my early days of gaming because everything was a surprise. So let's say I played like even Munchkin was a surprise for me because after playing Monopoly and I then played Munchkin, it was wow. There's it was my first game, game where it was a little bit more than just Monopoly rolling dice. And then I played Arkham Horror as my first co-op game, and Cyclades as my first area control game, or Ascension as my first deck building game. I fell in love with all of those games, but I cannot put them on this list because the surprise element was just discovering the board game world. So I went and looked into my kind of in my college years of not real college, but the college years of gaming, where I already knew something, but I had still had something to learn. But then I got surprised by quite a few games, and the surprise element I think comes in a lot, in a sense of let's say if a game doesn't look good at all, and then you play it and wow, such a great game, or if you feel like, oh, this game is not for me, I don't like this mechanics, I don't like the designer at all, and then you play that game, that particular game from that designer or with those mechanics, and like, oh, but this one is great. so yeah, that's where I built my list on, and I didn't make a huge short list of games, but I still had like I could go on and on. There were quite a few surprises. Some of them were not as strong. And with some of them, I was like, was I surprised by the game or not? I don't remember. There were quite a few games was like, maybe like, I don't usually have expectations from games that much, I'm like, I play it, it's okay, that's fine. I just buy it because somebody talked about it. I'm like, right now, it's really hard to make me surprised about the game. I just don't expect too many things. Like I'm rather getting disappointed than surprised. But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I kept this one to pleasant surprises, sort of as a bookend to the last one about disappointments. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't really have a methodology. I just went through my game room and looked at the games that I have and said, oh yeah, this one, I was really surprised by this one for whatever reason. There's a couple of games that I kind of always talk about when I think of a surprise in gaming. And so those were sort of easy hits. And then, I did make a long short list. That's just how I do things. And then I pared it down based upon, no particular reason other than that these are games that surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Look, my top 3 are the ones that I just looked at. Like, I mean, I glanced at my collection of games, but I instantly knew those 3. One of them isn't in my collection, yeah, but like the 3 games that popped into my mind right away. My top 3 is something like, yeah, that was huge surprise. Everything else was also a big surprise, but I had to remember it a little bit. Anyway,
right.
I think let's just get to number 10. Yep.
Okay. My number 10, this was a surprise I experienced with you. This was a game that I had randomly purchased. I don't know. I'd heard about it. I'd heard the title. It sounded interesting, and I decided to try it. And I brought it my first time that I went to Estonia to your game camp, and I set it up. and we played it, and I was surprised. I mean, I thought I would like it, but I was surprised by how much I did. So much that it became one of my favorite games. And that game is Burgle Brothers, or BROS. So the game is in this weird shaped box, and there's a whole lot of stuff in there to the point where it's very difficult to fit it back inside. But it's a game about sort of setting up a heist, and you're trying to get everybody in place. And you've got 3 floors, and it's interesting because what you're doing on one floor doesn't really affect what you're doing on the other floor, because time kind of stops and it only focuses on where you are. But there's lots of surprises in the game, as you might fall down a floor or set off an alarm. Really interesting mechanisms of sort of speeding up the alarm, moving these guards around, trying to distract them. It was just such a very interesting game that looked very unassuming. The artwork was fun, and I had enjoyed other games from this company, but this one quickly became my favorite from that company, and one that I just enjoy more than I think I was ever expecting to. So that is my number 10, Burgle Brothers.
Yeah. So this one is a crossover because my number 10 is Burgle Brothers. And
okay.
we were both surprised in the same board game camp. You brought it, and I was like, okay. So, but I saw it on Kickstarter before, and it didn't catch me. I was like, okay. I didn't feel like it looks cool. Like when you look at it on the picture, it, the art, everything. Like at the first glance, it's not cool. It looks cooler on the table,
right?
But also some tiles, some puzzle thing going on there. I didn't even look into it that much, and didn't even know. I think it was a cooperative game or something like that. And then you brought it, then we tried it, and I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it wasn't a huge surprise, but it was a surprise because it was so much fun for a cooperative game.
Right.
And it grew on me later.
Yeah, me too. And I remember I brought it because it arrived like literally as I was headed to the airport. It was sort of this this package arrived, and I said, "Oh, okay, it's small. I'll bring it." And
I think why I liked it. This one has a strong exploration element. I do like going somewhere and turning the tiles over and see what happens there. So this is great. The puzzle, it didn't bother me. Like I usually don't like too big of a puzzles in some of the cooperative games. This one is very light. You just need to see, okay, so if I move here, does this guard catch me or not? That's it. And okay, so hop on the second floor, so the guard will stay on that first floor, and it has this strong sense of cooperation, in my opinion. So yeah, I've never tried the second version, the casino heist. Yeah,
I'll let you try it and form your own opinions. I like it, but I think I prefer the original.
Okay, but that's nice. It's a 2 times 10. It's number 20.
There we go.
Okay, let's get to number 9 then.
Okay, my number 9 is a game that I remember when it was out on Kickstarter. I remember looking at it and deciding that I was not interested in buying it because it was expensive and all made out of wood. And I thought, and then I read the rules or heard the concept, and I was like, and then I immediately regretted it once I did not get it. So I was very happy when it came back. The game is called QE. And QE, of course, standing for quantitative easing, is a game. It's sort of a bidding game, but the hook here. Well, that's the probably want the more recent. That's the version that you can get, which looks much nicer than the all wooden one. But it's an interesting bidding game where you're trying to bid different things, right? You have a country, you want to bid that country's buy the things that have your country symbol. There, you want to have sort of specialization and have the most of a particular type of industry. You want to have all the different industries. There's lots of ways to score, but really the hook of the game is that you're going to bid any amount. There's no currency in the game. You just bid. You bid, and you write your number in secret on the back of one of these bills, and you hand it to the person who's running the auction that round. And that person will write the amount that you spent on the winning bidder on the back of this thing you're buying, hand it to you, and so only you and the auctioneer know how much you actually paid. And so, as sort of the game goes on, you'll see a gradual inflation happening as prices get higher and higher, and you can write any number you like. The bad thing, of course, is that whoever spends the most money overall in the game is just eliminated and doesn't win. So you want to spend as much as you can, but $1 less than the person who's ahead of you, and that's it's very interesting because you never quite know, and so you know how much you bid, and so if you don't win something, you know that somebody must have bid more, and so if you say, well, I bid $2 million. Okay, that means this person bid more than 2 million, which means I'm probably okay on my next bid to spend 5 million. And so it's really interesting how it all works. It's not, in the rules. It's just sort of the way that it works at the table. It's a very interesting concept with very few rules, nice components, and it works really well. I was very surprised by how well it works. And initially, of course, as most everybody thinks, you think it won't. But it really does, and it's quite interesting. That is QE.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
You haven't played it.
I have not. But I don't think I like the idea of like I like the idea I have limited money, and or you kind of can predict how much money I have, and then I bid that, rather than just let's get whatever number we can come up with.
Well, maybe it will surprise you.
Yeah, but maybe I'll try it out at some point. It's interesting.
If only you
every
were
game
planning on coming somewhere where someone has it.
Look, every game I click on, it doesn't show me an average rating, and every game I click on says 0 ratings. It seems that the Board Game Geek is broken.
Yeah, there must be some sort of I'm sure more than one. I know I've rated it. Yeah,
Last Ruins of Varnak.
That can't be right.
Yeah, it seems that Board Game Geek has some kind of a struggle.
Must be glitch.
So, yeah, some rating loss. Anyway, my number 9 is not a crossover. I've never played QE, but this is the game that you have played, and so this game is a surprise and disappointment at the same time. But first, you get disappointed, kinda, and then you get surprised. You get disappointed by how it looks, and you get surprised by how it plays.
Okay.
The Golden Ages.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't even know why I bought this game, because it looks awful. And sorry, but the boards, look at that. Is it attractive board? It's a picture, and when you look at it on your table, it's even worse. Wow, look at this artwork. So much variety in artwork. And look at this. Ooh, love it. Look at the plane. It's oh my god. No.
That's clearly a space shuttle, but
or what look. I cannot even understand what it is.
Okay.
No. But the game itself is clever. I think I bought it because it's a Civilization game, and I just at some point it was like, I need to try every Civilization game out there, because I love such games. But you can see here, it's not a looker, and you can build your own world here. It's so many cool mechanics. This board where you progress on the board. Basically, this is like a technology tree, but you can do things. You got like 4 of these tracks, and then you go down the tracks like in Tapestry, but in this one it's much more thematic in a sense. You become better in things. In Tapestry, it's like, okay, I receive a building to put it on puzzle and do the Tetris, Nah. Here, yeah, it should have been a combined like Tapestry artwork and Golden Ages gameplay. That would be a perfect spot for me. Yeah, all the cards, all those different special abilities and the leaders, whatever they were, like famous people and etc. It all was fun, and the area control was rather easy to grasp. The expansion added some extra stuff. I don't remember exactly. I think the culture or something like that. But it was like everything the game gave me was great. But I could never get it on the table. You know,
Sure.
it had some problems, few problems. I don't remember exactly, but the conflict wasn't that strong. I think to say that it's such an aggressive game. It wasn't. It was all about this building those cards, building your technology tracks and etc. So yeah, that was a surprise. When I pull it out, I see black bordered cards.
Yeah,
that was a surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise for me too. I definitely considered it for the list. I didn't end up picking it, but yeah, it definitely is a lot better than what it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
that's
all
my
right.
number 9. Let's get to number 8.
Okay, my number 8, and this is one we've talked about before. This was sort of early in, I guess, in my second age of games, which was after I had kind of started working and had money to buy them. I bought this one just because it sounded interesting. It was from a small company, and I ordered it from them directly. And when it showed up, it was even more of a surprise because it came in this weird little plastic lunchbox. The artwork was kind of quirky. The card quality wasn't great. The game is Glory to Rome, and it just is it was back when it was available when I got it, and it's not the version you see there. I don't know if you'll even be able to find the original, or there you go. No, that's the new version. Anyway, it's kind of hard to imagine, but it had, and that's the Polish version. You won't be able to find a picture, maybe, or maybe you will if you look around a lot. But what it was is it was the first game I played with this sort of concept of multi-use cards, right? You could use a card and you could play it for its action, or you could tuck it under your board on this side, which increased your ability to do something here, or you could tuck it underneath, which would mean that it was a resource you could use for building later, or you could put it on the top as a finished building. There was a lot of different ways to use the cards. There was this concept of picking an action and following. There was some hand management in there, and the game looked really cheap, like super cheap. You can't even find it. There you go. That's the on the left. There is the original version. It had some quirky artwork, which I like better than the new version artwork, but I don't even know if you can even find the box. It's hard to describe this cheap plastic box that opened. It looked like something you would get from a takeaway restaurant. It just looked like nothing. And I was really shocked with how interesting it was. So it was a surprise in terms of new game mechanisms, which are no longer new, but this one did it better than a lot of the other ones. And it was a surprise in terms of how sort of heavy and heady it was, with contrast to how it looks, which looks really light. It looks like a light Take That game, if you're being honest. And the card quality was really poor. And like the version I'm talking about is that version on the top there. And anyway, it was a real surprise for me, and one that I've kept around, years and years and years later. So I was very happy that I decided to give it a try.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I've never played Glory to Rome for a reason that it's hard to get. Nobody has it. Maybe somebody has it. I don't know.
I have it.
I played Motanai. I played, my first one was the Uchronia.
Sure.
The Uchronia edition of Glory to Rome, basically, which they are. I understand they're somewhat different. The Glory to Rome is the meteor one, but I like Uchronia. And after that, I tried Motanai. and maybe something else. Maybe not. I don't remember. Yeah, that's.
There's also import-export. There's sort of four games that try to be Glory to Rome, and none of them has ever done it quite the way Glory to Rome did.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my number 8 is this one is the I think. Let me see. This one is one of the two more recent surprises, like 19 or 20, I think 2020, yeah, surprises. But I was surprised because I looked at this designer, I looked at this work, I was like, okay, so I look like there was a game called Ragusa that I've never played, and I looked at Ragusa before. I was like, okay, it looks interesting, but no, I don't think I want to try this one out. I don't know, like it just didn't feel like I need to try it. And then eventually Osprey Games comes out with Merv. And I play and the cover. I don't like the cover. I'm not the biggest fan of. Look. If you look at the board, and I looked at the board, it doesn't look great, but it looks stylish. Like when you play it, it looks much better on the table when you play it. And I was surprised by the mechanics. Like you choose a column or row, you need to go across this kind of a town here, and then you build buildings on those things. You activate them. You can activate other players' colors, and you can go up the different tracks. It's very dry. You can collect camel cards and score points that way, or go trading routes. Build the walls in order for at some point there are those barbarians, whoever they are trying to attack you. This is about the city that was one of the wealthier cities out there, the merchant cities. So, and it's not thematic in any way, but I do like Osprey Games titles. I was like, okay, I need to try this one out, and then I really liked it. And I learned that it's Fabiola Piano. So lately I've been looking at, like, let's say I've tried a new game from a new designer. Like, okay, what else does he do? You know, what's his other games? And I was like, oh, he made Ragusa. Okay, now I need to try Ragusa. So I was surprised by an Italian designer, because I usually don't like this kind of a. I put the different gaming schools like into brackets. Like there's a French school of gaming, I think there's US school of gaming, Italian school of gaming with all of those T series, you know, the very heavy ones. They're all very abstracted, heavy, a lot of cues moving around, and this is kind of one of them, but it looks and seems to be lighter than the other ones. And I was pleasantly surprised by the game, and found out that there is a designer that I might like in the future. So I'm looking forward to his other games. Like, I need to try Ragusa, and I need to try Zapotec, which is the newest game from his. So that was
I thought about this one as well, just because it didn't look like very much, and I thought about it as well. So there you go.
All right, let's get to number 7.
Okay, my number 7. This is a game that it has the most uninteresting title. It's very short. The cover art looked really boring. They've updated it recently and made it even more boring looking. But the game is a short, delightful little hand management building, combo building game. I don't know what you want to call it, but the game is Fantasy Realms.
Yeah.
You look at it and it does not look like anything. That's the new version. That's the updated artwork there. If you look down there, you can see.
Yeah, I know this, the old one.
That was the the original artwork. And really, when you open the box, it's just a tiny deck of cards. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's 50, 60 cards in it. And but the gameplay is so interesting, right? You're sort of drawing a card and discarding a card, and you can do that, and that'll speed up the game. Or you can draw from the middle and put one back, which will slow things down a little bit. But what you're trying to do is to make the most of your hand of cards. And different things work differently with each other, and you're constantly changing as you go along. It's not the best at 2, which is kind of unfortunately the way I've played it the most. But it really is very interesting, especially if you get a slightly larger group of people. The scoring actually takes longer than playing the game sometimes, but I really was very happy when I finally discovered this game, regardless of how it looked or sounded. And it's about as generic as can be. I guess they're making a Star Trek version, which will, I'm sure, be very thematic. But but I was very pleasantly surprised by Fantasy Realms.
Yeah, I was. There was something in the middle. I wasn't enamored with the idea that I need to play this game, or I want to play this game, but I played it with you. It's like, okay, whatever, let's play. And so I wasn't surprised because I didn't like it, and I wasn't disappointed because I thought I will not like it anyway. So yeah, I didn't like it. It's extremely light. There's no game for me. Like there's not enough game for me. Sorry. And then Red Rising comes out, which has a little bit more game. I like Red Rising. Mm-hmm. It's not I don't love Red Rising, but I prefer Red Rising to this one, definitely.
Very well.
But not surprised by both anyway.
Okay.
My number 7 is... So, this is an economic game. But when you look at this game, it doesn't give you the feel of, oh, it's such an economic and thinky game. But it kind of is. Called Happy Pigs. And the name itself. Okay. It's Happy Pigs. It's like, when I look at this game, do you think it's an economic game? You think that it's a children game?
It's got a cute square pig.
Oh, this is the initial version. And there's the newer version is here that I played. And this is about raising your animals. The pigs in the base version, but you can buy like promos of ducks and penguins and lambs and whatever, And the cool part, like, I was very surprised with this game, because looking at this game, I was like, I don't think I need to play it. It sounds weird. I didn't look into the mechanics that much. If I would have, maybe I would have like, okay. But looking at this, no. You choose an action. You have these 4 actions, the tiles, and you choose some kind of an action, what you want to do. You want to go to the shop to buy extra stuff for your pigs, or you want to get your pigs vaccinated, by the way, or you want to grow your pigs, or whatever, or mate them, or something like that, so you can get more pigs. Nobody says where the pigs go after they are sold. So family friendly. Anyway, and you can see money, and it's all about money. You raise your farm, and you raise your pigs, and you want to sell them with high price, and you want to spend less and then gain more.
And gain more.
So there are those season cards, which are like kind of events or things that restrict your play in some way or anything like that. But the main mechanism, you put the tile down, one of your tiles, everybody else chooses the tile. You all have the same 4 tiles. If you're the only one, and there's the card that you turn over that shows you what actions are with what strength,
Right.
And when you turn, I don't know if I will find that. Here you can see. And when you turn over your tile that you chose, if one player chooses that action, only one player amongst everybody, and it's best with 4, then, in my opinion, then you get that action times that number. If more people chose, you have to split those actions. If, let's say, 3 people chose that first action, 6 times this, then everybody gets to do that thing twice. which is not maybe so beneficial if you like. I want to go to the market and buy a bunch of stuff, but buying only 2 stuff, it's not beneficial. And you start thinking about like, okay, if I think he's gonna go to the market, I think she's gonna do this. Maybe I choose that. But if I will let her go and buy all the stuff from the market times 8, that will boost her strategy. No, I will go there as well. I will try to stop her and like we'll split the actions. I'll be fine with my 4. A lot of that thinking. I was surprised by all of this gameplay, the meaty gameplay, and thinking with that cute box and cute artwork.
Okay, fair enough.
On the outside,
this was. I agree with this one. I like this game. I didn't actually even think about it. Maybe I didn't see it or whatever. But this was also a surprise for me.
I think this one is rather underrated as well. This is a hidden gem, in my opinion. I need to get it back into my collection.
Oh, with the penguins.
Penguins. No, this is the game that I think I didn't get rid of it. I chose to leave it to the other person. Anyway, yeah. Let's get to number 6.
Okay, number 6 is a game that I avoided for a long time, actually. This was one of those, that type of a surprise. I avoided it mostly because I saw pictures and it had these tiny cards. And then I thought, well, the theme sounds interesting, but I'm sure it's a messy bunch of mechanisms. And you looked at it and it didn't look all that great. The artwork was just mediocre. Turns out it's actually kind of a deck building game, but it's more than that, though. This was one that when I finally buckled down and played it, which was mostly because a friend was buying it for someone else, and I needed to teach it. I was so shocked by how much I liked it. The game is Obsession. And I don't think you've played Obsession.
No.
But it's constantly between printings. Well, yeah, it's constantly between printings. It's very popular among the people who like it. And the guy who runs the company, I think it's his only game. And I think all he does is, order print runs of Obsession and sell them. But he's very nice to work with and is great and sort of gives advice about how to get into his game. But the game is surprisingly interesting, right? There's a lot going on here. You're sort of building this tableau of activities. And then when you do the activity, it changes a little bit. It might get better. It might get worse. People might not be as excited by going to your game of field darts 400 times. But, there's sort of some role playing that can go into it too, right? You can sort of go back into this, I don't know what period it was, Victorian era, I guess, and try and role play. It's just really interesting, this combination of getting your deck ready, of the right guests to invite to these events to improve your social standing, and then trying to sort of manipulate things to be exactly as you want them. It's really quite interesting. And the expansion makes it even better, as you've got special workers that will improve different actions. It doesn't really fit in any kind of a box, well, including its own box. It barely fits in there, but in sort of a conceptual box, it doesn't really fit in any one type of game. But once I got into it, I was really very enamored with it. And I'm sad that I avoided it for so many years because it was such a pleasant surprise.
No, I think I've been avoiding this one as well. Looking at this game, it's like, okay. From the year it came out, I was like, okay.
It doesn't look like much, but if you talk to people who play it, everybody who plays it really seems to enjoy it.
Yeah,
and that includes me.
Yeah, it's something I think I should try. It sounds much more interesting than it looks. The theme is weird as well, but yeah, why not? Why not someday?
Yep.
So
someday.
My number 6 is a game that. So I was getting into knowing more about different companies, board game companies, and starting to kind of gain, not gain, but starting to give trust to certain companies. And one of them was Team G that I tried a few games of, and then I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I was looking at, like, let's see what else they have done, and then let's see what else they have done, and so on. And one of those games that was really hard to get, and during one of the board game camps, one of the people had this game. I was like, okay, maybe we should try it. But I'm not sure I need to, like, I'm not sure I would like pick up and deliver games. Like, it sounds very boring. And Kings of Air and Steam, the game, is the one that we played during the board game camp. It was one of the earlier ones that you weren't there. I think we didn't know each other at that time. It was quite early, but I was pleasantly surprised that I did like pick up and deliver, because every time I look at every pick up and deliver game, it's like, sounds so boring. I don't want to play that. I don't know why. I don't just all of them are trains as well. I'm fine with train games. Like, I don't hate train games, but like, okay, I don't think I know. Like, don't bother me with these games. This one, wow. So in this game, you're picking stuff up, but you have those airships, and you are trying to deliver them to the railway stations, terminals, and then they are delivered to the cities. And you can use other routes. You pay money. It's all about economy. And there are this fluctuating market, etc. But you also upgrade your ship. You also you get those different cards that are different strength, and you upgrade your ship in order to use the cards that are with the diamonds, which are stronger cards. And it has this paper money that I didn't care that it's paper money. I think it wasn't exactly paper money. Or was it? Well, maybe was it a higher quality paper money?
Yeah.
I don't remember. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I think I liked it because it's a different theme of a kind of a. It's not your usual train game. It's airships. It feels different how they move. And the cool part is that you have to program. And I played Robo Rally at somewhat similar time, and I was enamored with programming. I didn't even know that it had such a strong programming in this game, and I was surprised by that, because, like, you program your movements of your airship, you put all the cars down, then you turn it over, and then you fly, and that was great. I love that mechanism. So yeah, such a pleasant surprise for a not a theme, for mechanics that I didn't care about.
Sure. Yeah, I like this
programming.
Right. I need to. This is one of those ones I need to get back out again. It's been forever since I played it, but I remember really liking it. I did not play it with 7, which I believe you can, but probably should not.
Oh, I heard that you can play it, and it's not that bad, because you're programming all at the same time, and you're doing stuff. Basically, there's a lot of simultaneous gameplay. Usually it bothers me because I want to see what other players do, but I saw it there. Like like we didn't play. I don't think we played it. We played maybe a 3-player game. Yeah, we had a free player game.
That's probably a bit more normal.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I can see it playing more. But I like the upgrading of your airship. That's so cool. Right. I don't know. Kings of Air and Team. That was a lot of surprise. And the cool part about that one is that after we played this game, I was so surprised that I hunted down the owner of the game during the board game camp and pleaded him to sell me the game. And he said, "No, I like this too."
Okay.
Like, it was like, "No, I'm not gonna." So I went on the internet trying to find whatever copy I could find. And I found a rare copy of that. I think maybe I found on the trade or somewhere else. It wasn't easy to find it, but I just needed to get it. Or maybe I think I found it during in one of the shops. The shipping was a bit more than expected, but I was like, no, that was really cool game. I need to get it. And then I was disappointed that there was the expansion that didn't fund on the Kickstarter, because I think it was just a bad management of Kickstarter and bad management of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
TMG is not great at marketing at all. If they would have been great at marketing, like let's say Board and Dice, they would be on the same level as Board and Dice. But no. Anyway,
Okay.
the expansion should have fixed all the issues that I had with the game, still loving the game. But it never came out, and that's where I was like, that's so sad.
It probably never will at this point.
Oh, never will,
yeah.
If Scott Alms gets his rights back for this game, maybe he will do that with... I don't think he will do that with the Gamelin games, because they do tiny big stuff. I don't think they're going to do this game. But maybe he can just give it to any other publisher. I think TMG games will start, being revived in a few years. I think so, through other publishers.
We will see.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a big rant, but we go to number 5.
Okay, my number 5. So this was a game that I think I also experienced with you at some point. I think I had played it before that, though. And this is a tiny, tiny game. And this one is a surprise to lots of people because of how simple and how interesting it is. Tiny game, tiny box. The game is called Insider. And what you were doing in this game is you had one person who knows a word, and everybody else is asking questions, yes or no questions, as quickly as possible, trying to guess the word. And then another person is the insider who knows what that word is and is trying to help everybody get there, but not be so helpful that everybody knows who he is. And that's sort of the crux of the game, right? As the insider, you win if you can get everybody to guess the right answer, but also not figure out who you are. Very simple, very straightforward, very fast, but really a lot of fun. And it's so unassuming. The box is, literally this big, and it doesn't look like much, but I was so pleasantly surprised. And everybody that I've played it with has been, well, most everybody has really enjoyed it as well. And so it's been a surprise hit, and I'm very pleased with it.
I didn't think about this one, but I was also surprised because, a tiny box and there's no artwork. There's nothing. I'm not into social deduction games. I don't like this kind of a rolls and hidden rolls, etc. I've tried few and I just don't like them. I hate Werewolf. Yeah. That could have been on my list. Let's say it's my number 11.
Okay. I thought it might be, but it sounds like it wasn't. But that's okay. Yep.
And
surprise.
Right now, I through that I thought about one other game that, no, maybe maybe it wouldn't have been on my list. It would have been on my short list. Anyway, we'll talk about our short list a little bit later. That's a great pick. That's a great pick. So my number 5 is the game that I'm going to show you the copy you can get right now, but the initial copy was from Poland. And when this game was introduced at that time, it sounded like, oh, it's Dixit. It looked like Dixit. Was like, okay, I didn't like Dixit at all. I played Dixit like, okay, I don't think I need to get it. But something inside me got a little bit intrigued by that because it said cooperative. It was like, I don't know. Should we not? I don't know. And then we're like, okay, let's try it out. And the only, and this game is called Mysterium, but the initial version is Tajemnicze Domostwo, is the Polish version,
which might have its own entry, actually.
it has, but I'm going with Mysterium because this is more international. You can get it anywhere. And then there's Mysterium Park, which is a sequel, which is I think even more streamlined. Go with whatever you want. I haven't played Mysterium Park, but I heard it's basically Mysterium. So whatever you choose.
Yeah.
I don't think you can maybe in Poland you can still find them to the Mostel. But anyway, so we were looking for a copy of that, and it was really hard to get. We could get it from Portal Games, but it was a high price and high shipping price. So we decided we're gonna do our first kind of a group buy.
Yep.
And we organized. That's where I started organizing group buys from other websites and Philibert, etc., which people were thankful about because they want to be, they didn't want to do that themselves. Anyway, that was basically one of the first ones in Estonia where we did something like that. We contacted Poland Portal Games, and we said, okay, so if we buy a bunch of stuff, will it get the price down and shipping and etc. And so we got a really good price, and I think we got us plus 12 more people, or I think maybe 11, because some of them bought like 2 copies, but we got 13 copies ordered by other people. Put the list down, like who wants to buy this game. It's limited, it's really hard to get, go for it, and we ordered 13 copies from Portal Games straight, and I don't remember the price, but it was very low for like Europe. It was really great. And then we played it, and I was enamored of how great this game is. Like not liking Dixit at all, and loving Mysterium. That was
Great.
such a huge surprise. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell the story.
Yeah,
shipping as well.
Very well. The shipping story. Yeah, this was a surprise for me as well. I mean, I had heard good things, and then I ordered a copy from Poland, and it was a super mega hit for a while that I really enjoyed as well. It's not on my list, but it definitely was one I considered.
Yeah, so this is the initial copy. I think this is this is Ukrainian.
That's the Ukrainian copy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but let me see if the same. I don't know. It's really hard to see what's.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
all the pictures, all the artwork's the same, but it just is a different box.
Yeah. The thing is that you have this kind of a weird artwork from, like, you have this Dixit artwork. Everybody knows what's Dixit, and you have this weird Dixit artwork, and you're trying to guess the cards. Like who is the culprit, who is what weapon did they use, where did they kill a person, like the ghost, one of you is playing the ghost, and the ghost is silently communicating through those Dixit cards, and you're trying to figure the stuff out. That was a huge surprise. Yeah. All right, let's get to number 4.
Alrighty, number 4. Number 4 is a game. This is one of the first ones I think about when I think about a surprise, because it didn't. I mean, the theme was not interesting to me. The look of the game looked kind of cheap, and it looked very garish. And it was one that I avoided actively for a long time. And when somebody finally sat me down and forced me to play it, I was so shocked at how much fun this game is. It's a little dice game. It's not a little dice game, but it's a dice are a heavy element of it. The game is Lords of Vegas. It had horrible paper money. It was kind of a very bland looking board, a terrible looking box. And what you're doing, though, is each turn you'll get a property, and you put your marker on it, and then eventually you can upgrade that property and make it into a casino. And you can make the casino bigger. You can try and merge with someone else's casino and take over it if yours is big enough. You're trying, you might be taking a risk and moving out onto a spot that nobody owns. But if somebody ever gets that property title, then they can move into your casino and potentially take it away from you, depending on how things go. You can go and gamble at someone else's area to try and take their money. And then, interestingly enough, you're going to buy your points each turn, the way when you get your points, I guess I should say, you have to get more and more to cross a particular threshold. And that's sort of where the game is going. Eventually, these small Small-time casinos aren't going to do it for you anymore. So the game forces you to kind of upgrade and think of other ways to get points in order to get across these breakpoints. A really interesting game. I was so fascinated with it. I have the new version, which is the heaviest. It's just a heavy, physically heavy game in a briefcase now. But I really enjoyed Lords of Vegas, and I really did not think that I would.
Should be something I should try. I think so.
You might like it more than you're thinking. I mean, it does not look very good.
Yeah, I've avoided that one, I think, but not in a sense of like actively avoided, but never came.
Oh, I actively avoided it.
True. Like I've seen it on many lists and people talking about that. I was like, okay, who cares?
Yeah,
I don't care.
Lots of people like it, and I was not one of them until I actually played it. It's one of those times when I judged it by how it looked, and I was definitely very wrong.
All right. So my number 4, and yeah, this is also, it's a game where the art itself isn't that great. It's a point salad game. I kind of skipped this one, but I think I liked how the boards looked, like the player boards. That's the only thing I liked about that one. And then I saw a review of, I think, Sam Healy, and he gave it the positive reviews like, hey, a point salad game, a Euro game from Sam Healy. It was the like, it was at the time when I looked at games like, if it's a heavy Euro or a point salad game, I don't care about that one. I need some more thematic games or more beautiful games. I was very strict in my taste. And this game, by the way, led to another game, which I avoided actively. But this is the first of the two, which is the first class. I mean, the first of the two for me. The second one is Russian Railroads, which I tried after first class because I loved first class so much. Like, okay. And then I was surprised by Russian Railroads. I was like, I was not going to put both of them on the list because it had the same, like, I was surprised by this that I needed to try the second one, you know? I think it was from the same designer. That's why. And they're not extremely similar, but it just kind of a feel the same. They have the same vibe for me. Anyway, first class, it doesn't look particularly great because a lot of iconography and those cards, and they are not extremely thematic, you know, it's just icons, etc. But you build up your train cars, trying to get the most points. It's all about the point salad. You upgrade those train cars. You need to do that in particular order. And then you get the other cards, which is like a small train on going to the left of your board, which gives you some bonuses and extra scoring and etc. And this is all about engine building, because eventually you want to have a turn where you upgrade this stuff, activate that in order to do that, and that gives you 2 more cards, which you now upgrade to 1, and then you take this and put this one here, and now you have this, and use the coin and do all the additional actions, and your train, which was with cards number 0, is now with all the cards number 12, you know, and you get a, like, from, and this turn you're gonna get, this round you're gonna get, instead of 50 points, you get 150 points. This is the game where you accumulate stuff in a sense where everything is like gears, everything works with everything, you know. And it's a game about just, you know, you have those action cards in the center, and some of them give you new cards, some of them upgrade your train cards, some of them give you money, and some of them give you whatever. And it has, and I was very much surprised by how much engine building there is. It's such a pleasant experience, and it has a lot of modules, and I think I bought eventually all the modules. I have everything now, but it has this A, B, C, D, E, F, G modules, and you mix the 2 modules together, and you get a different. You can get a different game each time. Like it's basically it's the same. The flow of the game is the same, but now you get the passengers. Now you need to manage the luggage, or now you do some kind of there's the magician in the train, or there is a murder mystery, and whoever gets the most suspect tokens will just playing lose the game at the end of the game, like they are eliminated from scoring, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So
that one's great in 2-player.
Yeah. I've never tried Murder Mystery because I felt like this is a little bit too much. I don't like elimination in such a game where you have to build up a ton. It's more fun to build up, not getting eliminated. So I didn't try that module. I haven't tried quite a few modules yet because each time I teach it to new people, I just cannot put new modules in. I think I put the initial 2 because there's quite a lot going on.
Still. There is. Yep.
So huge surprise for me because not my game, let's say it was not my type of a game at that time at all. Nowadays, I would look at these games and feel like, okay, I might try it. It's not going to be a huge surprise for me for today. Yeah. First class, all aboard the Orient Express.
Hokey title, but yes, it's a good game.
Let's get to number 3.
Alrighty, my number 3. My number 3 is the only game from 2021 but I was so surprised by how exciting this game is, which on the background of how boring it looks. This is one of those, right? I mean, the game, and we talked about it when we did, I don't remember what we did, but we talked about it before. The game is Anno 1800. And this game looks like the driest of dry games, right? You've got these very kind of washed out looking pictures, icons everywhere, a board that just kind of has boxes and a river. I guess it's the sea, cubes. I mean, it just looks like a dry, boring game. And I avoided it, right? I mean, I was worried it was going to be like a Civilization game, and I've got enough of those that I didn't necessarily need another. But then I kind of watched some things about gameplay, and I thought, well, this sounds more interesting than maybe I'm giving it credit for. I don't know the video game. Apparently, it's based on a video game, but it's really very interesting to play. I was so happy. I remember it was just a couple months ago, right? And Victor was here, and I set it up, and I said, all right, Victor, we're going to learn this game. And because he's a good sport, he decided to play it with me. He'll try everything with me and sort of even the bad ones. And we were playing it, and we were like, this is really interesting. And we even played with a rule wrong, and it was still really interesting. And we just immediately went, well, a very stupid rule, but when you finish those buildings, you're supposed to flip them over. And and when you flip them over, there's 2 spots for the for you to put a cube on.
Yeah.
And we only were playing with one, and we were like, oh, well, we're sure having a lot of celebrations to clear our people off. But we were both doing it wrong, so it sort of, balanced itself out.
Yeah. Okay. That's a huge one.
Well, yeah, but hey, then we played it again with the rule right, and it was even better. But it was, I was just so happy and excited. This game just made me really excited because I went in there expecting it to be horrible, and it was so not. And I just, after playing it, I've not really been able to stop thinking about it. It was so much. It was such an interesting game.
Yeah. I think I bought it near the same time as you did. I don't think I was surprised. Maybe I was a little bit surprised because I really liked the game, but I was kind of expecting. It was Martin Wallace, and I was like, oh, it's based on that video game. I've never tried video game, but it's like a civilization themed game, so I might like that. And usually Martin Wallace does a lot with less. He does like few mechanics, but really great kind of a interceptions between those different things. And this one was great as well. I really like this one. It's a tad too long. It's on the longish side, in my opinion. You might get it faster once you get familiar with, like if you play it a lot, you get familiar with whatever needs what, because right now, so there are a few cards that say you need champagne, but in order to get champagne, you need this and that and that and that, and you need to do that in chain. You need to first build that, but you need the resources for that in order to build that and that and that. This is kind of a chain reaction. Yeah, Yeah, I could see people getting surprised by this design.
I certainly was.
I was expecting a good game still.
Okay.
Let's get to number 2.
Did you not have a number 3?
Was it number 3?
Well, that was
Oops.
my number 3. So that was my number 3, and then we skipped your number 3.
Yeah, let's get. So I got the numbers back. I was
If
so
I
enamored
could
with your.
turn back time.
We could have just said that. Okay, it's a crossover. No, yeah. Sorry, I was so in your
excited
pick.
to talk about my excitement.
Yeah. So as I said, my top 3 games are the ones that went straight, like came up straight or right away, because they were huge surprises. My number 3 is a game that I looked at the Kickstarter. I was like, okay, I don't care. It doesn't look great for me. I like lots of miniatures. It's a company that does miniatures. Probably a lot of combat. Not no, I don't care at all. And then eventually, people say that it's cool, and it's a bit Euro-y, and we just for fun, we just like say let's put it on the wish list. Like just maybe we need to try it. Why is everybody talking about like this is the best game ever? And Secret Santa is the one who decided the fate of this game. I don't think we would ever have bought the game, and then the Secret Santa bought it for us. That's Blood Rage.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting Blood Rage to be that good at that time. As I said, my tastes are different from different years. Like I have evolved in a sense that I do like some games that I didn't like before, or like the themes and etc. But I didn't expect this one to be so let's say Euro-y, yeah. So much like hybrid, because I did like Cyclades at that time. It was my favorite game at the time, and Cyclades is as well an area control where you fight, but it's very much a hybrid. There's a lot of economy and resource management going on, and this one seems to be the same. But looking at the box, when you look at the Kickstarter page, you scroll through the Kickstarter page, you see that miniatures. You get a lot of stretch goals, and miniatures, and miniatures, and miniatures, and this is Blood Rage, a Viking game. You fight each other, Valhalla, yeah, all of that. You look at all of that. You don't expect it to be such a clever game with not that many rules. That was a surprise for me. Like, oh, there's that designer as well, Eric Lang. It put Eric Lang for me, like on the map for me. So yeah, a great game of area control, managing your different resources and rage, etc. Drafting cards. That's where also I don't like drafting in games. It didn't bother me here at all. It was fine. Like, this game is like, it was a huge surprise because everything I don't really want to play is in here, and I love it. It's weird.
Sure.
So Blood Rage, my number 3.
Okay, there we go. Is it time for number 2 for real now?
Yeah, let's get back to number 2.
Okay. So my number 2, again, I think you might have to try and find the older edition of the game, because that's what we're going from here. I don't even remember when it came out, but it was early. It was maybe, I'm going to guess 2009, but I'm not sure. This is a game that I bought because I thought it was going to be one thing. I didn't know anything about it, but I saw the title on a board game website, a purchase, and I thought, ooh, that sounds exciting. I had played a game. I don't know. The game is called Catacombs, And I'm specifically referring to the 1.0 version, right? I think the 2010 is probably the one we're going to be dealing with here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I got this game. And I was like, oh, what is this? I opened it up, and it was hundreds of small discs. And then there was these tiny, tiny stickers with terrible artwork that you had to kind of sticker on all these things. And that took several hours. And then what you're doing is setting up this board. And then I was like, oh, you're flicking the discs, just kind of like flicking them like shuffleboard. It was the first real flicking game I think I had played. And I was, despite all of this weirdness, I mean, the box looks really bad. The artwork is pretty bad. The components were pretty cheap. I think some of mine were even moldy, and I had to get replacements. And the card artwork was really bad, and everything was horrible. And I was in love. I mean, I was just so excited by this game. This concept of this is how we're going to go through an adventure, and it kind of spoiled other dungeon crawl adventures for me because this was what I wanted. This was just so much fun. I loved being the heroes. I loved being the overlord or whatever it's called. I loved just sort of this concept of I'm going to flick this and then, or I can, cast a fireball. And so I put this little fireball off to the side and flick that. And it was such a pleasant surprise for me. And I had so much trouble getting people to play this game because of how it looked. The newer version, much, much nicer. That kind of resolves all of that. It has its own issues, and there's now, too much maybe. And it's difficult even to remember how to play. But I don't know. Original Catacombs, the 2010 version, I guess, that was such a pleasant surprise. So much was in there that was not what it looked like. It is a fun, lighthearted game, and you do not get that at all from that picture.
Yeah, so but for the people watching or listening, you can get the Catacombs third edition, which is much better looking. That's the one I played. I would say I was somewhat surprised, yeah, as well, because of the flicking game. Like, I think, yeah, it could have been on my list as well. Okay, yeah, I didn't think about this one. I don't remember how much I was surprised, but yeah.
Well, but you didn't play the 1.0 version. You would have been really surprised with that.
Yeah, maybe it would have been on my list then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 2 is a surprise, a huge surprise, because when I looked at the game, the how it sounded was interesting, but I had my reservations against the designer. It's like, okay, but this is that designer. I think I might get disappointed. Or let's say, yeah. Anyway, it's from Alexander Pfister. It's called Cloud Age.
Ah.
Look, looking at all the other Pfister games, I was like, I don't think I need to. But then I start hearing that this is one of the lighter Alexander Pfister games. I'm like, okay. But Isle of Skye was bad. I didn't like that at all. It looked bad as well. I'm like, okay. Port Royal. I like Port Royal later a little bit more, but I was like, Port Royal, his other very light game. Don't care. Like, everything sounded like I shouldn't love this game. And the more I play it, the more I like it.
All right.
I haven't played much. No. But I mean, my first play, I was very surprised. My second play, I liked it even more. I just didn't get a chance. I played the campaign, but I haven't had a chance to get back to this kind of a campaign. But whatever campaign, there's a story. Yeah, sure.
There's a pretty hokey story.
But I was surprised by how clever the game is. It's not hard, and there's engine building, and there's this exploration in a sense of I haven't played this kind of an exploration. It's not like, oh, I go and turn over the tile and see what's in there. I know exactly what's in the tiles. I'm going to those exact cities. I need to get that exact power, and then I get that exact amount of water or whatever else, or metal, whatever points. But I build those cards, which is like an engine building, and they give me boosts to. They are not like something like special abilities that are out of the world, but they are boosts to whatever you do in this game.
Right.
So, and then you get to these cards, which also a little bit of the deck building going on here, because eventually if you go there, you have the first one to go there, you get a card, which is a higher number card, which you can use in your deck. Because when you turn over the cards, at the start of the round, you turn over 2 cards. The first one, the higher one, is your extra resources you get for that, like energy, stuff like that. And the lower one is your speed. Oh, what?
Yep. It's the other way around, right? It's the higher one is your speed, and the lower one's your energy or cards.
Was it? Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I might,
because you can't have 0 speed and there's a 0 in there.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. That might be that way. It's yeah. I usually read rule books anyway.
Very well.
Anyway, the exploration. When you get to those cards, you are trying to figure out. You look at these cards and they're like, they look like there's a lot of that copper, or like, let's say, energy fields, or there's a lot of that water going on here. But some of those have some extra bonuses on them. They might be lower numbers, but they can have bonuses on them. Like, do I want to get a bonus, or do I want to get a lot of resources at once? And you are bidding on those different 4 resources, trying to figure out what you're going to get. And then you reveal the card out of that cloud and see, like, oh, it showed me a lot of that energy field, but the water was even more, but it was hidden behind the cloud. So I wanted to get 4 energy, but now I only get 3 energy, whatever, All of this, this kind of exploration is something new to me. I really like that mechanism. I really like it. So cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's pretty fun. I enjoyed that. It was a nice surprise for me as well. Although I knew I would like the game because I like Alexander Pfister games generally. With one exception.
For me, it was a huge surprise. I thought, like, I'm gonna play it once, I'm gonna not like it at all, I'm gonna sell it. That was my approach going to the game. And then wow, it's a solid game, Yeah.
Okay. Oops. So next time I see you, we're going to be playing Great Western Trail and Maracaibo.
Never. Not getting into those. A little bit too heavy for me. But let's get to the final number 1.
Okay, number 1, there's kind of a story here, right? This is a game that I did not want to like. I remember I had played the company's first game, and then I saw this one came out, and I saw their Kickstarter, and I looked at it, and the artwork was like, this is a little bit weird artwork, and the name of the game and the gameplay mechanisms sound like it would be really quite random. And it came out, and I saw some reviews, and people were saying, it's pretty good. And I was like, I don't know, this game doesn't look great. And then one year I was at Gen Con with my brother. We went to this company's booth, and we said, all right, just show. I said, I want to go there so that I can convince myself that I don't really need the game, because it had kind of always lingered for me, even though it did not look all that interesting. And we sat down, and we were shown a demo, and we both walked away with, copies of the game with all of its expansions, because it just, but once I got past my initial hesitation to the game, it opened itself up to me. The game is too many bones. And this is a game I talk about all the time, but it was a huge surprise for me. And it's it has gone up each time I played it. It has gone up each time an expansion has come out. And there's a new one coming, later next year probably. But it is such a fun game of sort of building up your custom character and going on an adventure. You can play it with one player. You can play it with more than one player. And it doesn't really matter. It scales quite nicely. And you've got a character you're going to be fighting against, a bad guy. The artwork, I hate the artwork. I mean, I don't, even though I love the game, I think all the characters look really ugly. But
Hmm.
I love the game. Each character is
Fine.
different. Each character has a different thing it wants to do. And you get so many chances over the game to sort of upgrade your character in different ways. You won't have time to do everything. And so you've got to pick. And you can say, okay, I want this character to be able to throw huge bombs that explode and destroy everything. Or I want this character to just be this nightmare with an axe. You can see him there that's going to go in and just wreck the whole world. But it takes a lot of time to get there. There's just a lot to discover here. There's a lot of rules, and the rule book has not improved over time. It's still pretty bad. It's a great game for someone else to teach you, and then you can just focus on your one character and what you want to do. But I really love this game, and I mean, looking at the box and the name and the mechanisms and all this stuff that's going on, I thought this is a game that I'm never going to play. I'm never going to like. And I am so glad that I sat down and tried it because it has become one of my very favorite games.
Yeah. Wait, this is this a cooperative game?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we should try this one out.
Okay. Be prepared. It is a lot, but I think you might really like it.
It doesn't scare me. You know, I've played quite a few very heavy games,
Yeah.
so.
Well, one of my sisters refers to it as that game with too many dice, and somebody else I know refers to it as too many rules. But it is a lot of fun if you get into it. And I don't know, maybe you'll like it. And it's really expensive, so if you try it here, then you won't have to pay for it.
Yeah. Look, I love Nemesis, which is also too many rules.
Yeah, that's true.
For 30 pages.
That one was also on my short
yeah.
list here. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So my number one. This is your sacred cow, like where you talk about this game a lot, and this is mine, where I talked about this game a lot. Not that much recently, but still a lot. And there's a story behind this game as well as we. So, and the story is that there was a board game camp. You were there, and before that, with my ex-wife, she was talking about this particular game. I was like, no, it looks bad. It looks like spreadsheet. I don't know. I don't care about this game at all. No, we will never buy it. Never. And then during the board game camp, we come up with the idea. Of course, the idea comes when the brain is already dead at night. That whoever stays longer awake and whoever stays to play games longer in the game. I think we concluded the day at 4 in the morning, something like that.
Oh no, you concluded the day at 4 in the morning. I stayed up till 6.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'll have you know, I was fresh off a plane, so
yeah. And I was like, at 4, I was like, okay, I'm never gonna make deals with Kyle anymore because at 4, my brain was dead because board game camp is all about 24/7 playing games, and at 4 in the morning, you cannot look at any of the games anymore because you just want to die. But Stockpile
you haven't talked about it for a while. You talked about it last week.
Yeah, recently. But I mean, like in a sense of like I haven't put it on many lists lately.
Okay.
Anyway, Stockpile. I talked about it before, so it's a stock market game. But the thing is that the prize for you winning this bet was that I will allow me and my ex-wife to buy this game. It's like, okay, whatever. But if I could stay longer, we will never buy this game. So thanks to you for being so for being out there for us, you know, staying till 6 o'clock in the morning playing games. You know, because of that, we bought the game that I didn't want at all, and I played it for the first time. I was blown away. It was amazing. It was light economy. It was kind of like an exploration in a sense, like everybody turns at the end of the round turns over those cards, whatever slide down in prices or up in prices. It's anticipation, exploration of that, or exploration in a sense that you bid on those different cards. Some of them are face down. You don't know what you didn't put the card there, so you don't know what it is. It's that exploration. It's whatever happens. It's a lot of random, but in a sense of you anticipate, you expect something to happen. Wow. One of my favorite games of all time. It's skyrocketed into my top 10 of all time. It's been there for years, and it stays there for years. Each time I play it again, it's it's a it's a lot of fun. So from not
I
wanting
suspected this one
all,
to be on your list.
Yeah. Like this was the first one that came to my mind because this was the huge surprise. It was the biggest surprise I ever had in board gaming, of how much I didn't want the game and how much I loved it. So.
All right, there you go.
I think we didn't do the number one video thing.
It's all right. We don't need to do it now. We did the number 2 and 3 a couple of times.
I'm getting so excited about games. I'm sorry. That, it's happens sometimes. It's live. Anyway, so briefly, what you had on your short list?
Oh,
just very briefly.
Let me pull my short list out of the trash can here. So I had a rather large short list. Let's see a couple of things that were on my short list. Draftosaurus was on my short list.
Oh, no.
Age of Empires 3 was on my short list.
I thought about that, but I kind of thought I will like it. So
and I thought I definitely wouldn't because I didn't know the background. Let's see, a couple here. Grim Masquerade, which I played with you, was on my short list.
My surprise as well, but I didn't put it in my short list because I couldn't really understand how much I was surprised by it. I kind of expected to like it as well because of the artwork. I really liked the artwork, but it was still a surprise.
And another one that I almost put on the list because I was really disappointed by it when I first played it. And the surprise was how much some of its expansions improved it. I figured that wasn't quite right for the list, but that was the Marvel United. Okay. Let's see. Several small games. Trails of Tucana was on my list. Whistle Mountain was on my list because I did not like Whistle Stop. War Chest, Chiseled. And then Concordia Venus, although I loved Concordia, this was a team variant of the game, and I don't really like team games. Okay. And I really love the team version of Concordia. So those are a couple. I could read my list for you, but there's a lot of games on there, let's just say.
Yeah,
I'm often surprised.
Yeah. I also had few. So one of the games was Homesteaders, as I said, when I was discovering Team G. And I got it through trade because it was really hard to get this game, but it looks so bad. I mean, like I avoided that Team G title for a long period because it looked so bad. I was like, okay, and then it skyrocketed into my top 10. But I didn't put it on my list because I kind of it was like Team G. I was excited, so much excited about that one. It wasn't. It was surprise. It wasn't surprise at the same time. Happy Salmon, which looks extremely silly and loud and trash, and that was a surprise. It would have been somewhere.
That was a surprise as well.
Hanshu, a little tiling games. I'm not a tiling games expert, or they are not my favorite games. But Hanshu had this overlaying cards. I was very much surprised by a small. Lautapellit is not a huge publisher. They have their own store. They're big in Finland, and they made Eclipse. But
so that's a pretty big game.
It's a big game. But have you heard about any other game other than Eclipse from Lautapellit?
Hanshu.
Yeah,
I have several of their games.
Yeah, but they are not. Some of their games are trash. I mean, like they are. Okay. It's the same with Brain Games. In here, like Brain Games made Ice School. it made them popular. Everything else that Brain Games does, nobody cares about. Not let's say nobody cares, but nobody knows about. If you
Don't they
ask
have that
the
pig
crowd.
game where you squeak the pig and you have to get the animals that match? I remember that was from them.
What? I don't care. Anyway, Cosmogenesis was a surprise because it was from Ludanoa. I didn't know nothing about the company, and the game was very scientific. It sounded very scientific, and it was a rather streamlined and really cool theme. Russian Railroads, shortlist, but I put first class, so it wasn't as big surprise anymore. Combo Fighter was
that was on my shortlist too.
Because I was like, I'm not into PvP card games, player card games, because like, okay, I don't want to fight other players directly in a card game. That's not fun for me. But this one was a lot of fun.
It is.
And Cooper Island, extremely heavy. Very
heavy.
I'm
surprised you liked that one. That and Barrage, actually.
Barrage, I didn't. Barrage kind of felt like I might like it. It's like it wasn't a huge surprise. It was maybe a little bit, but Cooper Island was a huge surprise because there was so much going on. I don't like small scores in such games. It's a small scoring game, but wow.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's it for today. By the way, so what did you get from? Did you already get your present from Secret Santa?
Oh, I didn't do it this year. I haven't done. The problem is I have so many games. It's hard. It's more work than than it's worth to figure out some things to put on my list, because I just tend to buy things when I'm interested in them. So I do not have anything from Santa.
So shout out for my Santa, because I got a gift, and it was Imperium Legends and Classics.
Ooh.
And I got some.
Those are both great.
I got some US candy, and I got some coins from a local friendly game store. And I got some cards, some playing cards, usual ones. Okay. So I got quite a few things. Thank you very much for sending me those. It was a great fun opening the box. So, and there's a letter. They were the first time Santa. They never done that before.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
They were also from US.
I take it you haven't tried Imperium Legends and Classics, otherwise you would have talked about it.
No. Each time I look at this, like, I need to buy it, and I never got to buy it.
It's a rough rule book.
It is.
I warn you.
I looked at this. That's fine.
It is a fantastic game, but a rough rule book.
I've seen it. It's a lot of icons, a lot of small
special terms.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It is. Stick with it. You'll like it if you stick with it, but it is a rough learn.
I mean, like, yeah, and now I got both, so I can play some. I was thinking about getting Legends first, because I really do like some mythical civilizations more than usual ones in games.
They're the same, although I think Classics is the way to start because they're a little bit simpler. But
yeah, I think I will start.
You've got both of them.
I have both. Yeah. So yeah, that's.
And on Etsy, you can buy a nice insert that'll let you store them both in one box.
Oh yeah, the inserts here, that is so weird, because those whatever they are the strips.
Those strips, yeah.
They don't.
You only need one set of strips. No.
Okay, but they don't fit into this insert.
No, they don't. You have to kind of sit them on top.
Why is it there? Why did you make it longer so you could it's weird? But I like the insert. Like, it shows underneath the insert. It shows you where to put the cards.
What goes there? That part is nice, but you can buy like I said on Etsy. I can send you a link, or you can look at mine when you come here. It's a nice sort of 3D printed plastic insert that has a tray for each of the civilizations with the name on it, and then it fits all nicely in one box. Because to be fair, you'll just always play them together if you like the game.
Oh, okay, that might be the case. But I like both boxes. I just like how they look.
Yeah, they do look nice, but you don't need two boxes.
Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next year.
If not before, who knows? Maybe something surprising will happen. But
Yeah, maybe not from both of us, but maybe a separate video or something else. That
Who
might
knows?
be the case. That I might do something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Anyway, Happy New Year to everyone. If we don't see you before.
Merry Christmas first. And then
that's
New Year.
true. I'm wearing a Christmas hat. I should.
Yeah.
All right.
You should have known.
I should have. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.